5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. Now, here's Tom Silverstein.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler, the digital version of this week's 5 Questions. We are in separate places, given the Thanksgiving holiday and all. We did manage to see each other on Thanksgiving. You withheld a turkey leg from me, as I recall. Just right to my face. But I assume that was a lot of fun for you to go out and present the players with turkey legs.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, it really was. For me, that's a huge platform. But I remember Rob from NBC called me right before the Olympics, and I know they had talked about it, and they were supposed to do it in Detroit last year, but for whatever reason, it didn't get done, and Jordan didn't get one. So I remember seeing Coach LaFleur in the tunnel, and I said, "Hey, Coach, how's it going?" And he's real laid back. I said, "Yeah, Jordan's going to be MVP, and we're going to give him 2 turkey legs." He said, "Oh, yeah, he didn't get one." So we just had that discussion before the game, and lo and behold, he played well. But again, the John Madden game with the patches on the chest of all the jerseys, I mean, that's pretty remarkable what you think that what John Madden stood for. He always talked about the turducken, and, you know, the winning team gets a turkey leg. And it kind of evolved a bit because I had some greens with some neck bones, and I had my famous mac and cheese. That's never really been part of it, but I said I wanted to dress it up a little bit on my plate that I never got back from Josh Jacobs, by the way. He can keep it. But it was great.
Of it in the locker room after the game.
Yes. And I want to let him know, though, if he scores a touchdown against the Lions and the Packers win, I'll make him a nice big pan, deep dish pan of my famous mac and cheese, and I'll deliver it to him in the locker room, or I'll have somebody take it in there. So that's a good incentive to beat these guys. You know, but Tom, you know, when I think about that, real quick, I think about the daylight between Detroit and the Packers. It was a lot of daylight because Detroit, as I said before, they've taken the brakes out the car. They got to put on the gas. That's the only way they play. But I went back and looked at the film the first time they played, and the Packers didn't play well. You had to pick 6, of course. You had a few drops. They just kind of gave a team that was already aggressive so many opportunities to beat them. Now, the second half was a little bit different, but I see that daylight, like, it's starting to, like, close a little bit. And I know what people are thinking because of Detroit has all these injuries, but I think the Packers are tightening the gap because ever since the bye week, they've been playing well. Jordan with no interceptions, and they've leaned on Josh Jacobs a lot, and the defense kind of been shutting the run down.
Yeah, and, you know, against Miami, we should just touch base there. Probably was a little easier than maybe the final score showed, except that, you know, Miami found a way to just keep completing passes, which is what they do. But the Packers did a good job of keeping them out of the end zone. Now they go, so they play 2 games in 4 days and 5 days. And now, you know, they got off Friday and Saturday, and then they're back at work on Sunday, getting ready for another Thursday game with the Lions. So it's a short turnaround, and, you know, I don't know how guys can do that, play 3 games in 12 days. But, the one thing the Packers do have going for them is they're a healthy football team. They might get Jair Alexander and should get Romeo Doubs back this week, leaving only 2 guys really on the injury report who probably aren't going to play. So Edgerrin Cooper and Corey Ballantyne. So they go into that game fairly healthy. And to your point, I just wonder if they are the favored team going into this game, just given how they've been playing and how healthy they are.
It's a great point, but you can also throw in being the youngest team in the league. They're young, fresh, team. At first, it starts with your quarterback. Jordan is 100% healthy. Your offensive line hasn't given up any sacks, and they played together other than the last time we played Detroit. Jenkins was at center. Mm-hmm. It was raining, and you couldn't handle the ball. But now 71 comes back, and you have your offensive line to really protect Jordan. But not only that, 75 and 74 and 71 on the interior, they've been running the ball great between the tackles. Mm-hmm. And you think about that, I think that's why Mike Holmgren is a finalist. People underestimate the running game this time of the year, Tom. He used to come in the locker room. Guys, it's fall, and the leaves are changing. I said, what is he getting at? Oh, you got to play great defense, run the football, stop the run, and you can get to a Super Bowl. He made it that simple. It's the same thing with LaFleur. I don't think anybody else in the league would have wanted the youngest team in the league for 2 years in a row and get that team to the second round in the playoffs. And this year they're 9-3 with a bunch of young guys, second-year guys, first and second, third-year guys, because the coaching staff is platinum. And they would never say this, so I have to say it for them, but they coaching their tail off. So they're young enough to recuperate quicker. But you look at Detroit, these guys got a lot of injuries. They've been playing their guys a lot because, again, their foot's on the gas, and there's an opening there to be one of the freshest teams. If you got a great kicker with McManus, and if you can stop the run, because the run, obviously, Tom, starts up front with 95, 93, and 97. But if number 7, Quay Walker, plays like that, I'll defend any running game. It don't matter if it's Montgomery and Gibbs or mix it up. We just didn't have that continuity the first time. So I think it's easier for the coaches to say, these guys in their early 20s, man, this NFL, yes, we got to play a couple games in 5 days, but this is what we like to do. Think about this, Total. If you win this game, you got a big break. Mm-hmm. And then you get into the meat of December. This game can really set you up. But I think they're fresh because they're young.
Yeah. So I also went back and looked at that first Detroit game, and they made so many mistakes in that game. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Detroit.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Detroit, was the more physical team. But I wonder going into the second game. So if you recall last year, the Packers really did a good job throwing the ball against the Lions. Mm-hmm. I mean, Love just had a really good game. They found a way to block Aiden Hutchinson almost the entire game. Mm-hmm. But they come into this game just riding Josh Jacobs. So my question is, do you continue to do that, or do you try to take advantage of the fact that their pass rush is probably going to be softened given all the guys they're missing? I mean, they're down like 4 linebackers, and then there's 2 or 3 defensive linemen they may or may not have on Thursday night. Is it, are you playing it too conservatively to just run Jacobs and establish him? Or do you think they should be riding Jordan Love?
No, number 8's your guy. He's the straw that stirs the drink. Because if Josh Jacobs is over 100, for 5 straight weeks, he's been like a combined over 100 yards. Look at the record. When he's over 100, or if he's involved, they win games. And Jordan is in a position, that's why I'm so happy, he can air it out with the best quarterbacks. And sometimes he can manage the game better than some of the best quarterbacks. And sometimes you're playing catch up. He can do everything. That's why this team is so good. It's not a band. It's an orchestra. All these guys are on the same page and they don't care about the headline. They want to be part of the story. I think one of the most, I'll tell you what, go look at 5 questions when they play Detroit and look at the stress on my face talking about Detroit. You don't see that anymore. The therapy is number 8. I feel good every time he has the ball because now the play action opens up. And now you can get the ball to 85. You can get the ball to 11. And I'm going to tell you something, Tom, quickly. Whenever you get new people, and Stinovich knows this, of course, and so does Matt. Anytime you get new people, move people. Motion, shifts, make them think. Double shifts. Go 2 tight end sets, or 3 tight ends, 1 wide receiver, and then split them out and go into empty. Make them figure out who to get or call a timeout. And guess what? Yes, I hope the Packers do a fake field goal or a fake punt. Because you remember McDuffie came up with that 4th down stop when they tried a fake punt?
Van Ness, yeah. Van Ness. Both of them.
And shout out to McDuffie, man. This guy's playing with a heavy heart. And I didn't know if he was going to be available the last 2 games. I just love what he brings to the game. And then the special teams, having a young man, 22, going through a lot with his friends, and he gets that fumble. This team in the locker room understands we're this close from being the best team in the league, and we're probably this close from being the last seed to making it into the playoffs. It's up to us. And you think about it, they're going to be on national TV, it seems like every week. And I think America's fallen in love with this team. No pun intended, love. But this is a place you've won before. And this is a place that I feel like they could win again. But the pre-snap penalties, now that's the one you want Holmgren to get upset about. You've been there with Mike Holmgren. If somebody jump offside, he'll start screaming, throwing stuff, because he don't want to give you anything. The other team gets paid. They're going to make plays. So don't give it to him. And you see Hafley in his press conference, and you could just see his mood change when, you line up off sides. Enigbari, one of my favorite players, who I think can just take over a game. 55 is a wrecking crew, but don't give them 5 yards because you're good enough to back up even a little bit more and still get to the quarterback. Yeah. So they got to just don't give Detroit anything. Make them earn it.
It's funny because I know it's been addressed because I talked to about 6 defensive linemen on Monday, and every one of them knew that they lead the league in pre-snap penalties. And I'll say they took accountability for it. A lot of times guys will say, yeah, it's part of the game and we got to clean it up, but, I'm not too worried about it. these guys were talking about how bleeping embarrassing it was, and that it's inexcusable and it's up to them, and they got to start looking. They can't be lining up offsides. They got to start checking with the side judge to make sure they're on sides. Anyway, at least they do appear to be addressing it, but we'll see how they handle it. I can understand in a game like this, against an offensive line like this, you cannot be passive. So you got to find that in between, getting off the ball and not being off sides. And Jared Goff's going to try to hard count them quite a bit.
Of course.
I think, it's really going to come down to how well they can play the run. And it's a tough go against that Detroit offensive line, don't you think?
Oh, no question about it. And I really don't know when the last time Jair actually played Detroit. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it wasn't. He didn't play them at all last year, I believe.
Yep. And I don't know if he played the year before either. So, because if he wants to play Amon St. Brown in the slot, you got to line up onside, because the guy's a flanker. The emotions, like you can come up on him, but you can't. So if you put Buller in a 20, make sure you lined up properly. And, the nose guard, the ends, both ends have to line guys up and just come back, because you don't want to give a team like Detroit, 1st and 5, because they're going to be aggressive with it. But I tell you what, once the ball snaps, I feel good about where this defense is, Tom. I really do. I mean, if they can get in their nickel or their base, I really feel like they can compete. Now, let's think about it. The Packers really are built for inside. They got all these young, fast receivers.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tight end that can just do whatever he wants. And the Lions really are built for outside. They got 2 running backs that they like to give the ball to, a lot of play action and kind of gimmick plays at times. So I wasn't surprised they went there last year. But again, when you have the youngest team in the league, yes, sometimes they do stuff that's a head scratcher. But the one thing about it is compete. That's the word this week. Let's go compete and challenge these guys, because everybody thinks that they're the top guy, they're the big brother of the league. And here's a chance to show America that if we want to get to the Super Bowl, this is a team you must beat.
Yeah. So if you're Jeff Hafley, how do you play this game? You last week against Miami, you just played a tight shell zone defense, rally to the ball, let to complete all kinds of passes in front of you, and then rally to the ball. Now you got a 2-headed running game that's inside outside, and you got to stop that first. But how do you defend these guys?
I think the thing about it is you gotta, which Hafley has been doing great this year, you gotta kind of pick your poison. With Miami, no deep threats, no balls by Tyreek and Waddle and those guys. And then you're thinking, I don't mind them dinking and dunking, because I know Tua had 365 on and 2 touchdowns. Those good numbers. But if you think about it, they took the big play away. So if you take the run away and be aggressive and force Detroit, Ben Johnson, the coordinator, to do something they may not want to do, because they want to run the ball and control the clock. But if you take the run away and force Jared Goff to have a career day, I think you're in good spirits there. So I will go play a lot of cover 2. I'll play a lot of cover 4. And I would also mix in some casino blitzes. That means you bring in everybody. especially when they go 3 wide receivers, because James Williamson didn't play the first time. Now, he's their young receiver that can really get down the field. But you got to challenge people. You have to challenge people, Tom. So I would mix it up. I really would. And on 3rd and long, that's when I would blitz the most. 3rd and 10 or more, I'm bringing pressure. I'm not doing that. And every now and then when it's 3rd and short, I may give them a little 3-man rush and drop 8 to just mix it up and let Ben Johnson, they can't get a bead on what we really like to do. And I will only substitute when they substitute. I will not substitute unless they substitute because they're thinking about coming in, doing fast, and getting a free play. I wouldn't do that. But as soon as they run out there, I'll change.
Okay.
If not, guys, stay out there and we'll defend whatever personnel they have.
One thing I want to see how they defend is Detroit will run so many crossing routes underneath.
Yes.
Drag routes. They want to rub guys off. They want to confuse the inside linebackers, and that's where Quay Walker's got to play. Like you said, I mean, he has to play his most intelligent game, I think, because I think they're going to try to confuse him and McDuffie and use all those speedy receivers going across Gibbs. It probably would be easier if he played some zone defenses on him, but we'll see. I mean, it's Detroit poses so many problems. I think, they may have to play some man coverage too, and say, go ahead and throw it deep. We're going to stop the run and we're going to blitz you. I agree with you that they got to be pretty aggressive against these guys.
Yeah, I remember Sterling Sharpe, who's also a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I said, what are y'all doing when y'all run these crossing routes, these underneath routes? And I remember talking to Perry Kemp, my teammate back in 1991. He said, LeRoy, the only reason why we do crossing routes, if you're a man, to try to do a soft pick, but we really don't want the ball. We want you to jump up so we can hit the dig route right behind you. It's the old banana in the tailpipe. So they'll run St. Brown underneath. They'll try to get James Williamson on a deep end route for 30 yards. So they got to let this stuff go. It ain't for me. Play it deep to short and just rally up and tackle well. And I never understood that. I said, oh, I get it now. They want me to jump up on LaPorta, the tight end, and then now St. Brown is running a post behind me. So I had to realize that. So you're going to get a lot of that in this offense. And when they split out 26, they're trying to get him the ball on screens or fake screens, reverses that make you think. So all you got to do is be disciplined and communicate, because really it'll be quiet enough for the defense to communicate. If you communicate, I think everything will be great, because you can't change a whole lot. It's baked in the cake, okay? They're not going to change all this stuff because they don't want to confuse the other guys who are in there for the guys who are injured. But for the Packers, they have most of their guys. And you can give me an audible. I mean, Happily can give me an audible for my back pocket if they have regular personnel and all of a sudden they go empty. They give me a call that I can relay to everybody so we can survive the down. Because I don't want to be in cover 3 when they got 2 and 2 and the seams are open. I want to give everybody a check, ice it up front, and go cover 4. So now there's nothing open in these seams, and get it to the check down and we can survive the down. That's how you beat teams like Detroit. You got to have, I remember one of my favorite cartoons. If you can't beat them, join them. You got to play the way they play. That's how you beat Detroit.
Yeah, and I wonder what their mindset will be. I'm interested to see their mindset because, Detroit will probably try to smack them in the face, right? Especially if they get the ball first.
Of course.
They're going to just try to establish themselves a physical style, and are the Packers up to it? So I'm really curious to see how they react to that.
Tom, their first play, they're going to be in a split backs, shift to I backs, play action with Jared Goff. He's a very good play action quarterback. They're going to run double goals outside. First play. Just to put it on notice, we're going downtown with Jameis Winston. We think these cornerbacks undisciplined. They'll peep in the backfield, and we're going to just down the middle. The tight end, stop and go in the middle. You got three guys running stop and goes off of play action, because the linebacker has to honor that, because we know they got a great running game. So you're going to lose the linebackers. But after that time, they got to redirect with their head on a swivel, because they can get an interception. If you redirect, this is a play action, get deep. But if you're a safety or you're a cornerback, don't be looking in that backfield, because that's when the double move gets you. Because if you're running, remember, Jared Goff this year threw 5 picks in one game.
Yeah.
But they still won. So that's going to be the first play.
I'm going to predict first play for the Packers.
Okay, let me hear this.
If they get the ball first, I predict that they will run a play action pass, and they will run Christian Watson deep, and off of that, they will either run, especially if Detroit's in like cover 3 with the one of the safeties up, they will run a corner route right underneath that, and I think he'll be wide open, and we'll see whether that happens. Now, of course, they have to get the right look for that to happen, but I think they're gonna, I think it was last year, they went deep to Christian Watson really early to try to establish him, and he had a big catch early. And if I'm the Lions, I'm thinking, they're going to him right away, establish him.
Yes,
and I'm thinking, play off him. This is the game. He's coming off a couple of good games. It'd be a good game to play off him and try to get Wicks involved or Reed,
Yeah,
so
I personally gave Christian Watson a turkey leg because I believe in him. So I say, here you go, nephew. Because when he dropped that one pass a couple weeks ago, and Jordan went back to him last week against Miami, he made a great catch. We love you, man. Hey, nobody can stop you straight line on that surface.
Right.
He's going to get the Randy Moss effect, which is his hero. He looked up to Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Randy Moss used to get 1-9 route a quarter.
Right. Yeah.
Four times he's going down the field.
Yeah, there were not many 7 routes in his repertoire. He was going deep or nothing. And you know what? For Watson, if he can continue to develop those in-breaking routes, he's got guys playing so far off him, he could be really dangerous over the middle. He showed what he did in Chicago with that crossing route. And so he's got to develop that, and we'll see how that goes. But anyway, it should be a very entertaining game. I'm sure you have a prediction.
Yes, I do. Packers will win 36-30, and McManus is going to kick 4 field goals. But
4 field goals.
I want to see.
So you have to be 34. Wait, it would have to be
don't do my score.
330.
Bill said it's my score. That I could pick whatever score I want.
No, but not if you're going to say 4 field goals. You better say 5 field goals.
Okay, well, 5 field goals.
I'm a math major here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I want them, Detroit, to be driving, and Evan Williams come up with a game-saving pick and get out, and then Jordan comes out there and take a knee. So I'm thinking 36-30, and they're driving, trying to win, and Evan Williams is the hero. That'd be great.
That's a prediction for you.
Yes.
All right. And as you mentioned, stole my thunder there. Mike Holmgren and Sterling Sharpe are both finalists in the Hall of Fame, and it's looking really good. I mean, they are 2 of 5 finalists in the coach and seniors division. Only 3 of the 5 get picked, but I think there's a good chance both of them could wind up in the Hall of Fame. And I know you played with Sterling, and you, of course, played for Holmgren.
Yes.
I'm sure you had some feelings about that.
The reason why I think Coach Holmgren will get in, because we won Super Bowl 31 in New Orleans. And when they make the announcement, it'll be in New Orleans.
That's true.
I wish if he does make it, they pick me to be the one that knocks on his door and welcomes him into the Hall of Fame. And here's why I think, of course I'm biased. When you take 2 teams like Seattle and the Packers to the Super Bowl, the guy's amazing. He's a therapist. He's a financial advisor. He's funny. And he coached his tail off. And I'm going to tell you, he was a widely unknown guy coming to Green Bay the first year. I didn't know who he was. I mean, it was always Bill Walsh, or Seifert. I never heard of the coordinators. And he put together a staff that was truly amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I just love the guy. A quick 20-second story about Holmgren. If he makes it, I'm going to tell this story. I was sitting in the locker room, and you know this story, and I had on a Michael Jordan shirt, and this is in the 90s, and he had his towel around his neck because he was going to do the Stairmaster, and he would walk. And he came back. He said, "Hey, why don't you have your shirt?" I said, "It's Michael Jordan. I mean, Michael Jordan." He goes, "Well, why don't you wear a LeRoy Butler shirt?" I said, "I don't have one." He said, "Precisely. Go do something and get your own damn shirt." I said, "Okay." And he just walked off.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, he wants me to play better, so now I can get some endorsements." But for Sterling Sharpe, a guy that really didn't talk to the media a lot. But one thing I can tell you about Sterling caught 100 passes when it meant something.
Mm-hmm.
He caught 100 passes being doubled. The guy was one of the most physical guys. And the thing that really disturbs me, and I get a little bit upset, but I try to be, because I waited 16 years, but he didn't get the projection that Terrell Davis got, who's one of my best friends. And my brother, Tony Baselli, I was afraid for him because he wasn't getting the projection, but he did get the projection. If he had played, he would be this type of a player. Why Sterling Sharpe don't get that? It's mind-boggling for like a 3 to 4 stretch. I mean, he was in the same era with the Jerry Rices, the Chris Carters, and all these, Andre Reed.
Yeah.
That was his era. I mean, the guy was phenomenal. He was 3-time first-team All-Pro. I think both of them will get in, but I really think that Holmgren being in the Super Bowl down in New Orleans will help. I'm praying that both of them get in, even just to be mentioned, to know that you have an opportunity. There's a lot of worthy people, but this will put us past the Bears too. I think the Bears got us by 2 people. That's more people in the Hall of Fame. So we'll see how it goes. Well, I appreciate you even bringing it up, Tom. I really do.
Yeah, and of course I covered Sterling and Holmgren, and Sterling was by far I think of guys that I covered, Sterling Sharpe was the best by far wide receiver that I covered. Packers that I saw, I put him right there with James Lofton. James Lofton was an incredible player. Sterling Sharpe, I often wonder what it would have been like if he had been on the 96 team. But, I sometimes wonder whether it would have changed the dynamic that you guys had because, Favre spread the ball around like crazy on that team.
Yeah.
Jim Rook, Keith Jackson, Robert Brooks, Antonio Freeman, Don
Freeman,
Ray Risen, and would he have felt, that he needed to go to Sterling so much? It would have made that team a little different. I don't know if it would have made it worse or better, but I just know it would have been a different kind of animal if he had been there. So I often wonder about that, but I don't think you can deny that you couldn't stop him. I don't know. Best couldn't stop him.
If Sterling Sharpe would have played a minimum of 10 years in the league, if he had played 12 years in the league, he would be the GOAT.
Yeah.
If he'd have played another 5-7 years, he'd be the greatest of all time.
Do you remember the year he had that turf toe and he never practiced? Never practiced a day after he had that. And then he'd just go and play on it and it'd get worse, but he'd just keep producing. It was pretty remarkable.
The guy was great. So I'm hoping he'll get his just due this year. That would be, oh my God, I'd be so happy.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, his career getting cut short was unfortunate, but that's part of the whole deal. So anyway, I want to let viewers know that we won't have an X's and O's because we're not together with our magic board. So we will have one going into the following week and take a look at the Detroit game. And other than that, safe travels. And you want to thank some people before we head out?
Yeah, MilwaukeeWindowGuys.com. You can go there to get some of the best windows ever. They got a great special going on now. And again, if you go to AugustAllenAR.com, you'll be able to see the LeRoy Butler experience. I have a QR code if you put your phone up there. It's a new way how we use AI and AR to develop your brand. And we're going to be launching that huge and going into 2025. So if you're a company out there, if you want to know how you can brand with some of your products, and you can also go to LeRoyButlerInc.com. That's my website, LeRoyButlerInc.com. And again, I want to thank Pick and Save and Metro Market for helping me get my great ingredients for my mac and cheese, Emily Williamson, and our big boss, Michael. I appreciate that. Matter of fact, we'll be out on a Oconomo walk, stuffing bags and getting stuff ready for 45, 50,000 families. I'm so excited. We have like over 200 volunteers. So I just want to thank our fan base. And again, I want to thank my uncle, Charles Durham. He's our #1 fan on this. And, you will be blogging for the game, right?
Yes. Live? Thanks for reminding everybody. Thursday night, I'll be going at it from about 6:45 till game is over. So be sure you join me. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You bet. And we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Bye.